All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. Let's get our little banner at the top. We're missing that. Might help if I can see. All right, here we go. Los and I are bringing it all to you tonight. And we can say we're down here in the desert, reporting live from the desert.
and it's cold tonight.
Yes. All right, everybody. This show is brought to you by Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Check them out. Give them a call, 415-613-9483 for all your legal needs. Maybe you got a personal injury situation. Maybe you got a little fender bender or a friend or family member. Let them know. Chapman Law Group. They can help you out. And you know what? Call doesn't cost you a thing. So give them a call, 415-613-9483. All right. The band is excited tonight. They've been on the shelf for a while. And let me goodbye, band. All right, there we go. Welcome, Los. Welcome everybody out there in the chat. See Cole out there, MF. Beto. I like that. All right.
Beto. If he's Spanish, it's Beto.
As Dan Bennett practices, Los and I, we may be going out there Monday, right, Los? First
Monday's the first official workout, so yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah, we may be out there. We'll talk about it, Los and I, as we're here right here in the desert, guys. We're here in Arizona, literally ballparks within 20 minutes of each of us. They're just it's like it's like the old 7-Elevens on every corner, man. They got a spring training site down here. I got two ballparks within 15 minutes each side. I can go west or I can go a little bit south and east. And I got the Padres and the Mariners real close by in Peoria. And then in Surprise, I've got the Rangers and the Royals. So a couple of potential 4 playoff teams right next to me. And then, of course, the Dodgers are only maybe 28 minutes or so, maybe 30 at tops from me in Glendale.
I have seen a ton of Los Angeles Dodger hats lately as a bunch of front runners have invaded Arizona to see the Dodgers in spring training.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Matthew. Yeah, then we've got Cincinnati and Cleveland just down the yard, a little closer to Mark Graves' neck of the woods, right there in Goodyear. He's only maybe 15 minutes or so from the Goodyear, Cincinnati Reds, Cleveland. And then you've got Milwaukee, kind of in Phoenix, Central, down. And then we've got on the east side, we've got the Cubbies and the A's, the Diamondbacks and Rockies. I don't know. Did I miss anybody?
The Giants. Scottsdale. That's hilarious. We covered every hat on that wall behind Dan that is in Arizona, except for the team we're going to be talking about today.
Well, that tells you how excited we are to talk about them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I like the stadiums out by you on the west side. Free parking, less crowded, less hassle. I like Peoria and I like Surprise. We were out at Surprise last year for the Rangers.
Yeah, we were out at Surprise, and I plan to be out at Surprise on the 22nd, the first game, Giants and the Rangers, and hoping to see some of the regulars get a chance to play. We'll see. But should be interesting. So let's get into this, Los. Spring training review of the San Francisco Giants. I'll tell you, I'm very mixed. I'm kind of like their record reflects 500. 500. It's like a teeter totter, right? A scale. It can go this way, or it's a right. Sometimes my emotions with the Giants go that way. Sometimes I'm like, I can see some potential with this team and get a little bit excited with some of the different players, and if everything goes well, and then I come back to a little bit more reality, Joe's, and then I go, this team doesn't have a chance. So where are you at on this?
I kind of think realistically their record is going to be the same as it is now, 0-500, except there's just going to be 162 games added to it. I mean, it's spring training, and for every baseball team and organization, there's always, spring hope, eternal optimism. If all this lines up, we could be an 85, 86 winning team, games winning team, and possibly make a run at a wild card. A lot of things have to go right. But then, reality kind of sets in, and you start just looking at the division, and you start looking at the National League. And it's going to be tough. I think the key to the Giants is going to be their young pitching and how well they can kind of evolve, because I don't think the team is going to score a lot of runs. It's very still heavily reliant upon power, and you know how we feel about that, and not being able to score runs in other ways. So I think if the Wisenhunts and the Birdsongs and the Kyle Harrisons can come up, I think Verlander being there, Dan, might help some of the young arms, teach them some things. I don't think that's going to be a bad thing at all. I don't know if we can expect a lot from Verlander himself, but just Professor Verlander from a teaching aspect of it, I think will be good for our young staff. You're muted.
I ask you a question.
Yeah.
Which number should I circle here? When the season ends, are the Giants going to have in front of their win total? What number in front of their win total? Will it be? Will it be? Will it be on this board, or will it be a 6? It certainly won't be a 1, will it?
No. Right now, I'm going to say a 7.
Okay. I kind of could see that right around 78.
Yeah.
Yeah. Los, when I look at this team, and and if I just look at it from a objective point of view, I guess, okay, I look at first base and I say, okay, we know catching's pretty set. Bailey's and probably Murphy's going to be the backup. There's some potential there that Murphy hits some dingers. He's got some power if he's healthy. And then you look at first base and you say, well, gosh, if Lamont Wade stays healthy, he's not a bad ball player. He gets on base a ton. And if he can just stay healthy and then Flores gives you a little pop maybe and gives you something close to what he did in 23. I don't think he's 2 years removed from that. So I don't think he's going to have that kind of production. But if he can do, decent, then you look at second base and go, wow, what happens if Fitzgerald, plays a full season and he hit 280 last year and hit 15 homers? What happens if he plays a full season and hits 265 and hits 20 homers? And then you go and he steals 30 bases, and then you go Adames. What happens if Adames hits 25 homers and drives in 100 runs? And then you go Chapman. What happens if Chapman hits 25 homers and drives in 75, close to 80 runs? And then you go Ramos at a full season, hits 25 plus homers and drives in close to 90. And then Jung-Hoo Lee hits 285 and he steals 12, 14 bases, hits 285, plays great defense. And then in right field, somehow Matos takes over the job and hits 260 and drives in 65, 70 runs. And all of a sudden and Verlander finds his form, and Robbie Ray gets back to what he was doing, and Logan Webb is Logan Webb, and Harrison gets to his potential, and Hicks figures it out, and Birdsong, and all of a sudden, and you're going, I mean, you can go, wow, that's a team that could win 85 games.
A lot of speculation. A lot of speculation.
Exactly. That's now. I mean, did you hear anything go wrong there? Everything was going perfect, right?
Everything, it's going to have to be 2021 all over again.
Yeah.
Now
what happens if I did this? Wade and Flores have similar years to last year. They're injured. Fitzgerald regresses. That strikes out still a lot. They can't. He's just not cutting it. Adames, he signed big contract. He kind of bounces back down. He only hits 21 homers. Instead of 112 RBIs, he drives in 87. He's productive, but not nearly. Chapman reverts back to his previous years. Instead of hitting 27 homers, he hits like 22, but he only hits 224. Ramos I'm not putting no hex on Ramos. He's my guy. Jung-Hoo Lee just hits, 275, doesn't do anything spectacular. They don't really give Matos a chance, and Yaz is out there playing most of the time, and Yaz does, 230, 15 homers, 50 RBIs. And then Bailey, he hits you 240, all that. Verlander doesn't really bounce back. He doesn't have the 5.4 ERA, but it's around 4.5. Webb gets a little bit caught up. They figure him out, and he gets an ERA in the mid threes. And Ray doesn't bounce back. Harrison is okay. I mean, all those are now, and I gave you, or you can have somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And if it's somewhere in the middle, there's their 500, right?
That's where it's going to be.
Yeah.
Some of those are going to do real well, and some of them are going to regress and not do well. I think at the end of the day, if you go around the diamond for the Giants, and if you give each position a score from 1 to 10, 8, 9, 10 being, kind of elite or really, really good. I don't think you see a lot of 8s, 9s, or 10s at any position for the Giants. There's a lot of 5s, 6, or 7s.
Why don't we do that?
We can go around the diamond right now. So we're going to be realistic here. I know there's some speculation. Let's start a catcher. Okay, so Patrick Bailey and Tom Murphy. Okay, Patrick Bailey, he was a little heavier last year, regressed a little bit defensively, seemed to wear down as the season went. He seems like he's a better hitter left-handed than right-handed. Mm-hmm. You called it when he was hitting well last year, around 270, 280. You say he would drop to the 230s and 240s, and he did. So we have a decent glove, switch hitting shortstop with a little power and, an average batting average. And your backup catcher is kind of injury prone with a little bit of pop. So from the catching position, they're about a 5.5 to me.
I was going to go a 6. So very good. We're right there.
Okay, so we're close. Okay, so now we go over to first base. Now, if my boy Bryce Eldridge starts the season like he should, we can up this number because he is got so much potential, and he's a left-handed power bat. But realistically, I think I'm going to lose that bet. I might as well just give Dan his $20 right now before I spend it in Japan. So we'll go with what we have right now, which is Lamont Wade and Wilmer Flores. Now, word is that Wilmer Flores is in really good shape. Great. He's in great shape. Well, this is not a modeling contest. This is a baseball team. So, I'm sure his wife is real happy that he's in shape, but Giants fans don't care. We want to know, can he actually hit the way Wilmer Flores used to hit? He's a professional hitter, but he's 37, 36. He's kind of up there. He's kind of a utility player, and Lamont Wade is what he is, kind of a utility player. So, again, the first base is a position that you expect power from. We're not going to get power from either of these guys. Flores is a little bit better of a hitter. Lamont can get on base, and Lamont's got a decent glove. Again, 5.5, 6 range at first base, give or take.
Well, how is your scale? 0 is awful. 0, 1, 2, pretty awful. 3,
Yeah.
4, mediocre.
Below
5,
average.
5
Yeah.
average.
5 is average. 6 is a little above average. 7 is pretty good. 8 is good. 9 and 10 are great. So
yeah, I'm gonna go 5 for the Giants first baseman.
First base. Okay, so we're close there. Okay, so now we go over to second base, and let's go with Tyler Fitzgerald. Based on last year, has a lot of promise. Rookie second baseman. He's got some speed. He's got some pop. Is he going to have a sophomore slump? Is he going to regress, or is he going to improve? One thing that I always say about baseball is young players. They're going to adjust, and the league is going to adjust to them. So the league is going to adjust to Tyler Fitzgerald, and is he going to adjust back to them? I think he's a good player. I'm going to be optimistic here and say the second base is a 6.5. I think he's a good player. Now, I don't know who is our backup second baseman. If Fitzgerald goes down, who actually plays second base? I mean, I know Flores could probably play there, but there'll be some young guy that can play utility. But the job is Fitzgerald's. Casey Schmidt can play second if he's not traded and he's still on the roster, and we like Casey. So I'm going to give second base a 6, solid 6, okay. 6.5. I like Tyler Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I do too. I think second base has got some potential there, and I think he's ranked like 5th or 6th in the National League second baseman, if I remember what I saw a few weeks back. But I'll go right at a 6. I think they're above average. Yeah, let's go to shortstop.
Shortstop. Okay, so Willy Adames is their big free agent. He is going to play 155 to 158 games. He's going to be every day in there as long as he's healthy. He's a very good player. I always said that he hit well in a hitter's ballpark in Milwaukee, and you have to take that into consideration. And you also have to take into consideration that in Milwaukee, he had a better lineup around him. He had more people on base in front of him, and
Los froze. Hopefully he's talking about Willy Adames, and he might have to reboot. He's frozen, or he'll unfreeze. Let's see if I can thaw him out. He's still frozen. Oh, I unfroze him. It worked. He's back frozen. There we go. Yeah, he's having a little bit of issues there, as it happens sometimes.
You got me?
There you're back. You were frozen on Adames, talking about Adames.
Sorry. Wow, I have not had that happen in a long time. See, when we talk about the Giants, it's just a jinx. They know I talk bad about them, so they're like, screw you, Los. So I better up these numbers if I want to have my internet going good. So Adames, I think, is a 7. I think he's going to be one of the Giants' best players, but Giants fans don't expect him to put up numbers that he did in Milwaukee. If he does, hey, I would love to be wrong, but he's one of their best players, so he's a solid 7.
Okay. Yeah, I am going to give Willy Adames a 7.37. I'm watching the dunk contest tonight, the NBA dunk contest.
You gotta put up your sign 7.3.
Yeah, I'm close to a 7.5 on Willie, so 7.25, 7.5 in that range. I think he's really a getting to be a better and better ball player as he gets older. He's been improving. I like his attitude, and I think, like you said, he plays every day. So Willy Adames is a bright spot on this team, I think. It's your boy OG. Ask if I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just getting over the flu. I'm over the flu, but I've got the lingering cough that's gonna. Sometimes you see me cover my mouth and I'm coughing. I'm muting my mic not to just cough in you guys' ears. But yeah, when I talk too much, my throat. So let's go to Matt Chapman. What do you got for Matt Chapman over at the hot corner?
Well, I'm not as high on Matt Chapman as others are, because
You know.
while he's a fantastic glove, I feel his hitting has much to leave to be desired. I like guys that drive in runs on things other than a home run, and I like guys that don't strike out a lot. So that's -2 for him on that. So, Matt, if we were grading him on his glove, he'd be a 9. But we're grading him as an all-around player. Now, he's a very good base runner. So I would give him probably a little bit less than Adames, maybe like a 6.7, 6.57. He's a good player. Matt Chapman is a good player. He's not a franchise player that you build around. So that's where I have him at.
There you go. Nice. I kind of like the way you put that out. I'm gonna try and change things up. I think I'm gonna get a what do they call that? An aggregate score. Aggregate. I'm gonna give him I'm gonna give him on defense. I'm gonna base Matt Chapman as a 9.5. Like right up there. He does make some errors still and throws the ball away more than he should. So I'm going to give him a 9.5. Base running, I'm going to give him an 8.5. He's a solid, smart base runner. And when it comes to hitting overall average, I'm going to give him like a 4 for average. I think he's below average.
Yep.
And when it comes to hitting when RBIs in the clutch, for a guy that hits in the middle of the order, I'm going to give him like a 3. I think he's very poor when there's runners in scoring position. Overall power, I'll give him like a 6. He's above average. So my overall numbers, when I put them through the little machine, I come up with Matt Chapman with about a 6.25. I think he's an above average player. Most of that 6.25 obviously is on the defense. You noticed I had him like at a 3, which is mediocre, not awful, but I don't think he's a productive hitter. So that brings his overall average down. And I think he's right in that 6.25. You had him at what, 6.5?
6.5, 6.75, not quite a 7. And before we get to the outfield and the pitching, that right there tells you a lot about the San Francisco Giants. Like they're two of their highest, if not their highest paid players, that they keep saying, oh, this is the best left side of the infield in baseball. But there's nobody, we're not talking locally, we're talking national. If you're on ESPN or any national baseball scene and they're talking about the best players in baseball, like it's going to be a while before you get to Adames and Chapman. They're not considered superstars. They're considered good players. Right. And the Giants are paying them like they're superstars. Correct. And they are not. So
good evening, Shell.
Hey, Shell. So that tells you a lot. So moving on to the outfield, let's talk about possibly our favorite player that we've been high on for a couple of years, and the Giants finally got their head out of their ass and decided to play him. Yeah. And that's Heliot Ramos. He struggled in spring training, was immediately sent down, not at the end of spring training, but on March 11th, which is not really good when you're sent down as a young guy that early. They're almost giving up on you right away.
Yeah.
And he didn't sulk. He didn't, regress. He put in the work. Giants got some injuries, and they called him up, and he took off from there, and he made the All-Star team. He is as complete a package as there is on the Giants. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. He's got a cannon of an arm in the outfield, and he's an above-average defender. Heliot Ramos may be the Giants' best player right now, and he is a 7.5. And could quite likely be an 8 if he puts together another good year.
Very good. Yeah. I kind of agree with you just about on everything there. I would love to put him at an 8, but I don't think he's quite there. And I hope he follows it up with even a better year. He hit 269 last year, 24 homers, and think it was like 72 RBIs. This is all off the top of my head. I'm not looking at it, but somewhere in that area. And he didn't.
Sounds
even
right.
play.
76 RBIs. Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. I'm hoping he gets, close to 90 this year. Would love to see that. Love to see him hit, 25 to 30 homers. I'd love to see him be a 20-20 guy. I think he can steal 20 bases. I'd like to see them give him the green light more. So, yeah, 7.5. Let's go to Jung-Hoo Lee in center field.
Jung-Hoo Lee, very high on him last year, probably more than most people when spring training came around. I went to his first game. He got a hit in his first at bat. I was feeling all juiced. Ooh, I'm going to be right on this guy. But if you had to give a grade on Jung-Hoo Lee, it would be an I for incomplete. He got hurt. We don't know what we have. We have a guy that flies around and he runs into walls, and he can put the bat on the ball. Seems to have good hand-eye coordination. A little disappointed that a guy that's seemingly is fast doesn't steal bases, which tells me that when he was in Korea, he was not asked to do that, or he didn't know how to take leads or get jumps or anything like that. So I'm hoping in his second camp that he can learn how to get better leads, get better jumps, and be a guy that steals 20 to 30 bases. That's his job as a leadoff hitter. If he's going to be a good average hitter and get on base, then he's got to be able to steal bases, because this team needs to have other ways of scoring runs besides hitting the long ball. So Jung-Hoo Lee, this number is strictly on potential. Until he proves it, he's a 6.5.
Yeah, I think that's about right for him. I mean, you look at his offensive skills, not much power, grounds out a lot, and he's got to learn to hit the ball on the line a little bit more through the gaps, the holes. He does a lot of just soft grounders, hits on top of the ball instead of squaring it up.
Right.
And yeah, I'm hearing Melvin talk about having him hitting the 3-hole and leading Wade off because of his on base percentage, which I don't understand that. I think Lee's a better second place hitter. I don't think you have a true leadoff hitter because he doesn't really steal bases and do much. I think Fitzgerald could be a good leadoff hitter if he could figure out how to just, get on base more. But that's neither here nor there. I think you got him pegged or outright. 5 being dead set as average in the middle, 6 being slightly above average. I think that's where he is. He has the potential to get to a 7 in this league. He has that potential. I don't think he's going to, if we said 5's average, 6 a little bit above average, 7's good, 8's really good, 9 is great, 10's elite, something like that. I think 6. I'm going to go right there at 6. So now we move over to right field. And
before we go to right field, Dan, real quick. Me and Dan have not been to spring training yet, so we haven't been able to get our eyes on all the players. And I haven't really even seen anything on TV yet. But Mitchell and Ness is saying Lee looks heavier this year. Mitchell and Ness, if you can elaborate, is that heavier mean like stronger, like more muscular, or is it like a fatter type of heavy? Because he was pretty slim. He was 160, 165. Yeah. So can you be more specific? Does he look heavier, like he bulked up, or he just looks like Patrick Bailey did when he came into camp last year? So while you're answering that, we'll go over to right field. And honestly, I listened to you and Bora a little bit today talking about if Yaz is in right field, I'm gonna lose my shit if he's in the starting right fielder on opening day. I think you all know how we feel about Yaz as a player. So let's just say I'm kind of higher than most, Dan, on Grant McRae. He intrigues me. He has a lot of natural power, and he's a very gifted outfielder. He didn't have a ton of at-bats, and I think he hit 205, which is pretty poor. But again, like I always say, young guys have times to make, adjustments and get better. Yaz is who he is. He has been in the league for a lot of years. He's not going to get better. There's nothing to adjust. He's been in the league. He can go only down from here, more or less. McRae, on the other hand, is a kid that he got a handful at bats. He showed some power. For a guy that is like not very big, he has a quick bat. So the key to him is, because he has a very good glove, is can he hit in the 250, 260 range with that glove and with that power? And if he can, he might make some noise and get some time in right field. I don't know. That's what spring training is here for. Luis Matos is another young guy that we love. We feel that he's not been given really the opportunities that he should. He was player of the week, and then he was back down in the minors the following week with a 2 for 20 slide. So you have three guys out there, Dan. We like Matos probably the most. I like McRae a little bit more than most, and all of us are not crazy about Yaz. So if you put the three together, stop if you've heard this before, it's about a 5.5 or a 6.
I don't even, if I just did Yaz, I'm going to score him pretty high, like 8.5, 9 in the field. He's really good fielder. At bat, sorry, his batting average is a 3. He's mediocre. Sorry, if you're hitting in the 220s, 230, I'm not giving you. I don't care what the major league average is, if it's 248 or whatever. I don't care. I'm going by the old book. If you're hitting 230, you suck in my book. Okay.
Right.
So no, I think Yaz at best is a 5.
Agreed.
I think he's just an average player. Somebody said weird grading system here. They isn't 7.5 supposed to be average?
No.
Well, if 5 is in the middle of 10, the middle's usually what I always consider average. If you're in the middle, you're in the average, right?
Yeah, if we're a bunch of guys together and some women are walking by and we're grading them and we're saying, oh, she's a 7.5. She's a pretty good looking woman.
Yeah.
Right. 7.5. Like, oh, she's cool. 10s are hard. There's no Jessica Rabbits out there. 9 is probably the best you're going to get. So yeah, 7.5 is good in the baseball world.
Yeah.
And in the judging women world.
I like that analogy. 7.5. Yeah, I give her
7.5 on a woman is a pretty good looking woman. So yeah, 7.5 is not average. Moving on.
The beef? Where's the beef? Says I wish my wife was a 5, folks. Oh man.
Well, if you have that handle, where's the beef? Then we'll just leave it at that. Having fun with you, buddy. So yeah, the right field is an unknown, and who knows? I always say that there's always a handful of guys that come out of nowhere that may surprise, but I don't know if anybody non-roster invite or another kid in the farm system that we're not talking about that got an invite to spring training could break through. But I would really love McRae and Matos to just explode in spring training and Yaz be released or traded for, there's, people are looking to get rid of pitching machines all the time. So the Giants could probably get 10 of them for Yaz.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of AI machines, like the Warriors are using.
Right.
I think Matos, I would put him at a 6 right now, just on his own merit over Yaz, because Yaz is. Here's what I like about Matos. He hit 250 his first year, and he was 21 years old. People forget we've heard of Matos for years, and we think Matos is an old man. The kid's 23 right now.
Yeah,
he's 23 years old, and that is still pretty young. And the fact that he made it up and was, he was player of the week last year as a 22-year-old in the National League. So I don't know what the heck the Giants are sitting on. Luis Matos, he turned 23 on January 28th. So 2 weeks ago, Luis Matos just turned 23. So he's 23 for the entire season. That's a guy you want to see start producing. What are the Giants sitting on? Why are we playing? Go watch the video we put out today, guys. Bor and I did a video. It's out. It talks about Yaz and why is he playing, and we broke down everything with Matos and McCray. And I'm just, I have nothing personally against Yaz. He does some good things every now and then, and it's great to see. Just like, any other ball player does something occasionally well. Guys like I don't know. Think of some of the guys that, what's the guy that hit that home run? Connor Gillespie in the playoffs. Was it Connor Gillespie against the Mets? Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, see a guy like Connor Gillespie. Every now and then he's going to do something great. Okay. But he's not a consistent big league ball player. And yet the Giants seem to be loaded with these. Farhan loaded the whole freaking the squad with guys like that.
It is so frustrating to the Giants just have so many of these journeymen and they stay journeymen and they continue to make up the roster. And what's so frustrating being a Giants fan now is how many straight years have the Dodgers won the division? Is it 10?
Well, just 21. They've won it every year since 2013 except 21.
Okay, so they've won it
11 of 12 or something like that.
Think about how sad this is. The Dodgers have had a better record than the Giants 9 of the last 10 years, which means in the draft, they're picking considerably later than the Giants. And yet the Dodgers have a great farm system and the Giants have one of the worst. You want to talk about an organization, going downhill, fail to draft and fail to develop players. And that's what the Giants are doing right now. We haven't even talked about Marco Luciano, who doesn't have a position. Yeah. He's another guy that you've heard about him being in the system and you think he's 30 years old. No, he's 23. So
exactly.
Again, these young potential, but haven't done it yet. And why haven't they done it yet? Is it because they're not good? Is it because the Giants are not developing or coaching them right? Is it a combination of the two? But, if some of these young guys can pop off, we could be talking about the Giants being a potential wild card team. But a lot of these young guys have to pop off because it's going to take these young guys to force management to get rid of the Yazes and to get rid of the Tom Murphys of the world, of the Giants that have been a part of this roster for far too long. So, we're done with the position players, and now we're going to go on to the starting staff, which I quite frankly feel, along with the bullpen, is probably the strength of the team. The starting rotation has a lot of potential because we love Hayden Birdsong on this show. Logan Webb is who Logan Webb is. He is a very, very good, consistent pitcher. Knock on wood, doesn't get hurt.
I agree with Philip 100%. This is what I've been saying. Want to see this. The Giants have to figure this out this year. This is their last option year. If they lay an egg, then you see what they do next year, and if they come out, they may make it up, and all of a sudden, but if they don't, you move on from them. You just move off. If they do great, all of a sudden you've got a future, and you've got trade candidates now. You got people that somebody wants. Everybody wants a young 23-year-old player. So this is the year for the Giants to do it. They would be absolute morons, fools, idiots, jackasses, what else you want me to call them, if they don't play Luciano and Matos this year and see what they have. Schmidt's another one that they should be playing and getting at least 300 to 500 at bats because he's in his option year too, last option year. They have just bungled and botched and blown this whole entire development. And it's all because Farhan was trying to win on the margins because the Giants were stupid enough to have him there, and knowing he was a lame duck candidate on the job, he was trying to save his job rather than build the team for the future. And if you had a right personality, right person in there, and you have Posey in there now, Posey should be saying, I got to find out what kind of foundation do I have? Do I have something that I can build on, or do I have sinking sand right now?
And when the Giants were better than the Dodgers not that long ago, it was because their homegrown talent exploded. It's because Lincecum, Kane, Bumgarner, Posey, Sandoval, all were not just average they weren't 5s and 6s. They were all 7s, 8s, and 9s. That's why the Giants were better than the Dodgers for those years. But then they stopped drafting well. They stopped developing well. And they tried to mix and match. And Farhan tried to just get, a bunch of garage sale players here and hoping that they would do well. And most of them didn't. And here we are. So back to the rotation. The rotation is real interesting, Dan, because it's a lot of what ifs. It's a mix of veterans like Robbie Ray and Verlander and Webb, and then you sprinkle in the youngsters, and hopefully of the group of Birdsong, Kyle Harrison, Wisenhunt, Mason Black, and let's not forget Landon Roop. Landon Roop's got a very, very nasty curveball and a pretty decent fastball. Yeah. So I'm really excited, like I said earlier in the show, about Verlander working with these young pitchers and teaching them the little nuances of pitching, whether it be, maybe you slide a little bit along the pitching mound. I forget who the pitcher was that slid all the way to one side of the pitching mound, rubber from the other side, and he immediately started pitching ridiculously well. So little things like that, arm angles, how to pitch inside, which Verlander is a veteran. Sometimes young guys don't like to throw inside, especially when they're young. They don't want to hit people. I'm excited that what Verlander can do to teach these young guys. And that's why I think Giants starting pitching is one of their more optimistic pieces of their roster.
Yeah, I'm going to go through these guys real quickly for the sake of time. So I'm going to give Webb a 7.5. I'm going to give Webb. He's really close to. You know what? What is an 8 on our scale again?
Very good.
Yeah, I'm going to give Webb an 8. He's my 1-8 on the team.
I agree.
Okay, Webb's an 8. Second in the rotation, I think, is going to be Robbie Ray. I'm not going to base him on his past. I'm going to base on him what I think he's at now. And I think he's a 6 with the potential to be a 7+. He's got to figure it out. But right now, I think he's an above average pitcher. He's got some strikeout stuff. So I've got Webb 8, Ray 6. Verlander, I think he's probably going to be 3rd in the rotation. I'm going to say he's probably right around a 6 at this point in his career too. But if anybody can pull out and get back to a 7+8, Verlander could. Okay, so could Ray. That's what's crazy about this team. They have the potential to be an excellent staff. They really do, but they also have this potential to just be mid. Harrison, I guess they're putting Hicks in the. I just think Hicks is a 5. I think he's an average pitcher. He's got 7, 8. He's got 8 number stuff, but I don't think he knows how to really pitch yet. I think he's a thrower, and I think when you're a bullpen guy, you kind of can just throw. But when you come to be a starter, you got to learn to pitch. And I don't think the major leagues is the greatest place to learn to pitch. But in this situation,
I'm seeing a couple comments, Dan. Sorry to cut you off. About Hicks gaining 14 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully that helps his endurance and maybe he can go past 5 innings, because you need maybe that little extra a weight to be able to have a little bit more endurance when you're throwing that hard. He was lights out for the first 2 months of the year. He really was. And he was going 5-6 innings every single time. But he wore down like we thought he would around July. So let's see what this – he's kind of the wild card.
Right. And I guess, to me, I think they should have made it a competition for the 4th and 5th rotation. I think they should have said Hicks, Harrison, and Birdsong battle for the 4 and 5 spot. But they made Hicks automatic starter, and they're making Harrison and Birdsong, which doesn't make sense to me because that's your future. You're not a great team. Why aren't you getting your young guys? You're going to eliminate one of your young guys that you're very high on, and you're going to say, sorry, you're not in the rotation. Makes no sense to me. So we'll see what happens. It has a way of working it out, but I'm going to give Harrison and Birdsong 5s. And I think they're average with the potential for both of them to reach an 8.
That's a wide range. And
It is.
That just shows, yeah.
There's a lot of there.
There's talent with these guys, but talent does not mean anything in baseball if you cannot put it together, especially as a pitcher. So do you see, there's a lot of talk about the Dodgers going to a 6-man rotation. Dan, if Robbie Ray has to be in the rotation. He's a high-paid veteran.
Yeah.
So does Verlander. And you know how we always talk about veterans blocking young guys. What if a lot of these young guys do really well in spring training? Do you see the Giants possibly going to a 6-man starting rotation to accommodate another guy?
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I wouldn't be opposed to that. And I just want to see these guys get healthy. This is an interesting question that Aaron asked. Who's the first to hit the IL on the pitching staff? I'm going to say it's Ray. But
I was going to say Ray. But, Verlander is 42. So who knows?
Put Hicks in the pen. Exactly. Larry joins in. I said, get Hicks in the back end of the bullpen. You have a mean bullpen. Imagine a bullpen of the 7th, 8th, and 9th of Duvall, Hicks, and Walker. Who's going to beat that? I mean, you shorten the game when you have a bullpen like that. You get your starters through 5, and you get a guys. You got Tyler Rogers, you got Eric Miller, you got Rodriguez, Jelly. I mean, there could be some things that these Giants could do. Like I say, there is such a there's so many ways this team can go. I mean,
it's maddening. They really are a box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're going to get. I mean, you don't. They could be a 4 or they could be an 8. Truly, it's maddening. I mean, the potential on some of these young guys, and I think their starters and their bullpen is probably the strength of the team. I mean, we're getting to the bullpen right now. If you throw Hicks in that bullpen and Ryan Walker, we don't know what Duvall's going to do. Guy's got electric stuff, but up here, he needs to get it together. Who's the lefty in the bullpen? Eric Miller.
That's it right now. And then they got
I'm not a fan of the Giants not having a lot of lefties at hitters or in the bullpen. They need a little bit more balance.
They invited Joey Lacasis, the guy. I think he pitched for San Diego. He's a lefty. He'll probably make the team. Larry says the only shot San Francisco has to contend for a wild card spot is their young starters bust out. Absolutely. Yeah. We need. Yeah. I don't understand why they are not playing good. Why do you say you're basically this makes no sense to me, Lowe's. You're basically telling your 2 guys that you're very high on. Oh, we love our young guys. And you're telling one of them you're not going to make it. I mean, why are you doing that? I mean, do they not see that Jordan Hicks was very successful as a reliever and as a starter? He didn't have the stamina, and then he was not even useful for the bullpen, which is exactly what I said last year in spring training. I said Jordan Hicks will flame out at some point in June because he's never gone more than 70-something innings, and they push him past it, and his shoulder gets sore. He doesn't even pitch hardly anymore in the second half. And what makes us think it's going to change this year?
The Giants used to be an organization that treasured their homegrown players, and I don't know what the hell's happened lately. Their homegrown player. This may be a wacky analogy, but you know me, I always throw things out of left field. But your drafted players, your homegrown players are your kids. Those are your biological kids, and your free agents are adopted children. And you're going to love all your kids the same, but your biological kids, like, damn, I invested you. I studied. I, gave you a draft bonus. We have a lot of investment for you. We're going to pay off that investment by having faith and trust and giving you a little bit longer leash than we do older veterans like Mike Yastrzemski, damn it. So I hope this is the year. Buster Posey is in charge. It's not far on. So I hope Buster, who himself was a young player, that I always tell this story, they traded Benji Molina, who was a good catcher. He was a good player and a good veteran, but he was blocking a younger, better player. And that's what the Giants need to do. If there's some young guys that come out in spring training, then Yaz, thanks, but see you later, buddy. Move on. Stop blocking young players. And I'm hopeful this is the year. Now, that being said, these young guys have to prove themselves. I'm not in any way, shape, saying that they, have to be just given the job because they're, draft picks. They have to earn it. That's life. You have to earn the job. But if this is what we get mad about, when they do earn it and they do outplay the veteran still plays over, the young guy. Very 49er-like.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do sometimes.
Yep. Los, there was a comment made by Jim Bowden today. He was talking, see if I can pull it up, and I can do this right here. I'll play this from X here. And I made a comment on it.
Surprises like my take that the Texas.
Okay.
I also have another article out today that ranks all 30 teams in baseball as of today, including several surprises like my take that the Texas Rangers are the second best team in the American League right now.
Ooh, I like
what
that.
a lead-in.
Wow.
I love that.
I don't.
Lead-in was going to be about your under the radar move. What's the best under the radar move that you saw this offseason?
What was what do you guys have the article there? I forget what
I have it all
Burger.
in front.
It was Jake Berger move for a team that couldn't hit a heater.
Speaking of the Rangers, yes, I love that deal because they didn't give up any top prospect. So the package was mid-level guys going back. And here's an upgrade at first base with power. I was talking to Chris Young in September, right? And he said to me, one of the things he learned this year, of course, he was brought up with pitching.
Listen to
defense.
this.
He said, one thing I learned is you got to have power in 2024, 2025. You're going to win. And he said, I got to go out there and find a way to add even more power to my lineup. So he makes that trade for Jake Berger, didn't give up a lot. And that's a 30 home run bat to sit there and plug in first base to replace Nathaniel Lowe. It was a 15 home run bat. He also went out and got Jock Peterson, who, as we know, against right-handed pitching, he's good for another 25 home runs there. So, this is a team that just added 50 to 55 homers to the bottom of their lineup and really extended the lineup. And that's with, you're going to have Langford's going to be better his second year. Evan Carter is going to be impactful. They're going to get Josh Young back. This lineup, and they're only a year removed from the World Championship, as we all remember. But this lineup is going to be tough to navigate. And I thought the Berger pickup was a really good under the radar.
So what we're listening to this, and he says, Chris Young, the general manager, the president of baseball ops with Texas, learned that you need power to this day. Now, what were the Giants thinking? Do they not understand that they needed power? Buster talked about going out, and he said, well, I got Adames and added more power there. And I hear Melvin talking about their power. You had Pete Alonso there for the taking, and the Giants had the money to do it, and they refused to sign the guy. And I'm like, we're going to go with Wilmer and Lamont Wade. And you got a 30-plus home run hitter sitting out there that nobody really wants, but a couple teams, maybe the Mets and Toronto, we're hearing, and the Giants had a chance to go out and get him. He signed for basically 2 years with an opt-out after the first year. He's getting $30 million and then $24 million the second year. You can't tell me the Giants couldn't have put together a 4-year package for a little over $100 million.
Yeah,
and had a guy that and Oracle Park doesn't hold him back. He crushes the ball there. And it's just like, well, we got Bryce Eldridge coming up. Well, you know what? There's also a DH that he would fit perfectly. So I just don't understand the thinking. They haven't had a 30 home run hitter since 2004. But you know what? They need power. They didn't get it. So we'll see what happens. I see Larry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What did you think? And this is for the chat as well, of his answer. This is the GM, Chris Young of the Rangers, saying he used the word, you have to have power to win in today's game. Okay. He didn't say we want to or we prefer to. He said we have to have power. Now, before you guys answer that, I'm just going to say, I don't think he's wrong in today's game. I mean, look at the two World Series. There's a copycat lead. So the two teams in the World Series, the Yankees and the Dodgers, had a lot of power up and down their lineup. So I don't think he's wrong. I just will say that I miss the days when a team like the St. Louis Cardinals, whose leading home run hitter maybe hit 18 home runs that year, they won with speed, defense, and pitching. And the San Francisco Giants, who we talk about, and this is a San Francisco Giants channel, won their 3 World Series not that long ago. They didn't have a ton of power. They won with pitching, timely hitting, and good defense. So as you guys answer that question, I know what the answer is going to be. Is the game of baseball changed that much where you can't have a lineup full of 280, 290 hitters that don't have a lot of power but fly around the bases, play good defense, and pitch well? So that team can't win a World Series in 2025? That's my question.
Yeah, it's
tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because batting averages are so much lower because of the guys that are all throwing 98 to 100. It's brought batting averages down. And so the strikeouts are up. And so you don't get a lot of crooked innings without home runs. You don't get these multiple hit innings where guys are moving guys, station to station, and guys are stealing bases as much. It's just, to me, it's weird because I love that style of baseball. But to me right now, what seems to be vogue is the 3-run homer. And, and that's, I keep thinking that's going to eventually turn. Things do tend to, go in cycles, and we are seeing, the removal of the shift, and then the two pick-off move limit, trying to increase stolen bases. I think hopefully the Giants take advantage of some of that and start actually, taking risk and trying to create more runs. They can't just. I never saw a more boring team in my life last year, and guys would have two pickoff attempts and they still wouldn't steal.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty bad when you have no power and no speed. It's like, okay, you got to have one or the other. Okay, we don't got a lot of power, but we're fast. No, we're not that either. That's pretty bad. But I'll give you an example. Aaron Judge was a Superman last year, right? Power hitter, Superman. How did he do in the World Series? He struggled. He really struggled. If you have a guy like Tony Gwynn in a 7-game series in the World Series, I don't think he's going to struggle. He's going to hit. So again, I'm comparing two great players, but I'm just saying that when you finally get to the playoffs, I think batting averages and timely hitting is just as important as the long ball. The long ball is going to get all the glory. Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off homer in game 1, so that gets the glory. But there's a lot of clutch hits that were not home runs that have won a lot of playoff games and World Series games in the history of this game.
Yeah. Since we're ranking, Aaron says chicks love the long ball. Is that the 7.5 and 8 scores the chicks love the long ball, or is it the 4s and 3s and 4s and 5s?
Yeah. And that's why Aaron, there's so many more women at the ball games nowadays than there used to be. So glad for us. More eye candy to look at when the games are boring.
Yeah, there's some pretty good sights at the ballpark. especially
Oh, in spring training. Oh,
man.
it's a party.
Arizona, man. I
Ooh,
mean,
Lord, I've learned that being here down here for 5 years now is spring training is it's a good time. Scottsdale, and it's not just Scottsdale. You can go to a lot of these ballparks on the east or west side, and if it's a boring game, your eyes will be entertained for sure.
I'm telling you, man, it is. There's some lookers. I'm telling you. So we kind of touched on the rotation, the bullpen. I think the bullpen might be the biggest strength of the team.
Yes, agreed.
It really can be a plus. I mean, and we talked about this starting rotation. It has the potential. This is why why Vegas has them at 79.5. You don't know what to expect. This is a team that can easily go way under, and it can also go over the 79.5. It could be an 85 plus win team if everything falls into place and guys produce. And, I will say this. The attitude of the team, the clubhouse, is going to be 100% better than it was with Farhan around. Buster Posey is going to instill a attitude that is a winning attitude, and there isn't going to be any. I don't think he's going to settle for mediocrity. I think he's looking for performance, improvement, and hustle, and I think guys are going to show up and play, and if they don't, I don't think they're going to be around.
Yeah,
and that's going to make a big difference. So that alone has me more excited just about the team. I always get excited about this time of year, and you always look at everybody's best potential. And if you pull a Robert Rothberg, you can score all these guys up near 8, and they're going to win 97 games. And, but yeah, I think Buster will hold people accountable, Robert. And I think he's going to make his stamp known. It's going to be, I'm sure it already is. I'm sure there's a difference. I heard with Gabe Kapler, when Gabe Kapler took over and Farhan, everything was all put on their phones. All the coaches are sitting there looking at their phones for the schedules, what we're supposed to do today. And Buster's done away with all that. It's back on paper. It's back on the wall. Things are like, we're not going to have coaches that are being distracted. Know your stuff, know your job, know what you need to do.
Do you think they actually allow the players that are on the bench and the coaches, for that matter, to have their cell phones in the back pocket of their jerseys, or are they in their locker? Yeah, they would have to say, "No, leave your cell phone in your locker." There's no way people are looking at their cell phones in the dugout. Because if they are, I said this last year on the show, somebody needs to do a few hidden ball tricks at first base, since nobody's paying attention. The dugout says, "Hey, he's got the ball. He's got the ball." They're not looking at that. They're looking at their phone, so they can get away with it. But
yeah. I agree with Larry here. This is something we're pushing. Can Marco be this year's Elliot Ramos? Will they give him 450 bat? Why? I don't understand why they wouldn't. It's his last year, option year. You better find out what you got in Marco Luciano. And
Willie Adames might be a good mentor for him.
Yes, they're both in the Dominican.
Latino, puro habla español, and sometimes that older brother mentor can go a long way. So just like I said, Verlander may be a good mentor for the Giants' young pitchers. Adames might be a very good mentor for some of our younger players' talent, especially Luciano, who needs a vote of confidence. We always say confidence is everything. When you know the organization has some in you and your teammates have it in you, and that could do wonders. So, yeah, I like that, Larry. I think Luciano could do some things, either at DH or, maybe spot play in the outfield. Who knows? But I'd like to see more at-bats from him.
Absolutely. And, this is my kind of dilemma with this team is my realistic part of me tells me that it's, roughly in that 500 range, whether it's 77 to 83, just in that range. They're going to be hovering around the 500 mark.
Rothberg has him at 95.
Yeah.
95 wins.
Him and Larry Bear, yeah. I want to. My optimistic side wants to believe that Buster's attitude, the focus on mental toughness, the focus on defense, the veteran leadership of Adames and Chapman, and you mentioned Verlander, and guys like Webb, and that some of these young guys realize that this may be their last opportunity. Tyler Fitzgerald is going to be like 28 years old. He's got to take this opportunity and run with it, because if he doesn't, he may never really get this great opportunity again to showcase himself. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of guys like this, if they don't pan out, they end up in some other organization. And at 28, 29, they just become somebody else's utility player.
Fitzgerald was really a rookie at age 27.
Yeah. He's let me look. I'm pretty sure he's 28 this year. Tyler.
He's got the receding hairline too already going for a young man. I notice when he takes his hat off.
Tyler Fitzgerald is 28. He doesn't turn 28 till September, mid-September. So he's 27 basically this year.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I agree. We always talk about baseball being such a mental sport. So Buster's positivity, and not just his positivity, the guys in the dugout can look and see that the guy running this ball club is one of the best winners and multi-champion player of this organization. That adds merit. Where opposed to when Farhan rolled through the dugout, he wasn't giving any Billy Bean speeches. He wasn't saying how it was when he played. What did he? If he wanted to tell you how to put something on a floppy disk, he could definitely do that. And
I think he played Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Maybe he's a good fantasy player. Boy, Dan Cochimilio and Farhan Zaidi in the same league together would set records for trades. Jesus, that'd be scary. A lot of 3 a.m. calls, right, Larry?
Farhan doesn't make trades. He just picks up guys off the waivers. He doesn't.
That's true. That's true.
He just waves guys. He waves them, moves them in, moves them out. Yeah. So Los, I got man.
It's the time of the year to be optimistic.
Yeah. And I want to be optimistic.
So do I.
And I said put out trades, and I haven't seen anything that the Giants have even attempted. They said they went after Luis Robert in the offseason. That's a guy I would have taken the chance on. You know what? Huge upside. Yes, he's injured a lot, but you don't have anybody with that upside on the team. I would have loved to see him go after him. I've talked about Luis Arias for over a year. I talked about him last offseason when he wasn't even a Padre, when he was with Miami. I said, go get Luis Arias. He's available. The Marlins are going to trade him. I guarantee it. The Marlins are going to trade him. And sure enough, man, AJ Preller pounces on it. He makes the phone calls. Giants, Farhan sitting on his butt. I've got Lamont Wade, and I've got Wilmer Flores at first base. And I'm going to go get Yashir Encarnacion out of Mexico. Now, look, good story. We haven't talked about him. He's out of options, so he has to make the team. He has to make the team this year, or he's exposed to waivers. I don't know what to think about him. He's like he's I don't know. He's got some power, but maybe I'd rather see.
He's a typical Giant. He's you don't know what he is. You just don't know what he is. You need to have more guys on your roster that you know what they are. And the Giants have too many question marks. Well, he could be good, or he may regress. And
but see, this is what the Giants will do. They would rather go ahead and keep a guy like Encarnacion, who will not be part of the future. And because Matos has options, put him in the minors and let Encarnacion and no development for Matos at the major league level. And then he runs out of options next year. And then it's like, oh, what are we going to do? We're back to Joey Bart situation again, where he has to make the team, or if he doesn't make the team, and you can't get any value for him because everybody knows you. If you don't want him, if you're trying to trade him, means you don't want him. So
Ruku
Robert,
with the line of the day.
Robert, I'm wrong since 2021 Rothberg. There we go, Robert.
Oh, that's classic.
Yeah,
kind of true, but yeah, that's where we are. You know, me and Dan will get out there soon enough. I believe Larry's coming down. We're going to see some spring training. We're going to get excited about some young players, and they may play well for a few games, and we might see some potential. But then come the regular season, if they're on the bench or back in the minors, we're going to be right back to where we always are. You know,
we'll try and get some reports. We'll try and get some reports for you Monday. I think Los and I will probably try and figure a way to get down to Scottsdale Monday morning, watch the Giants work out. Maybe we can, maybe I can get a few players to head over to the stands and get a little quick chat or something going. But we will try to give you a breakdown what we see out there. Maybe do a little video from the phone. But, it's the first workouts, first day that officially they report Monday. Most of them are there now. A lot of these guys are out there working out now with the club, and they've been down there. I mean, it's year round. So guys, I think that's enough. You got any final thoughts on this, Los, before we get out of here?
Yeah, my final thought is we're talking a little bit about Luciano. I hope, Dan, that they work him in at first base. I hope they give him a first base glove, and I hope that they give him some grounders there and just see what he can do. You know, if I remember correctly, he's not short. He's a 6'2",
6'1", almost 6'2", yeah.
Okay, so he's not short. He's a decent sized first baseman. If he can field his position decently, it's not shortstop. You're not the captain of the infield. You're not getting a ton of balls your way. You need to know how to pick it. You need to know how to cut off a ball to right field. You need that bat, because if he can find a position, I think Luciano is a wild card in that lineup. I think, like we talked about, the Giants pitching, I think, has got a lot of potential to be really good. I think it's their lineup that we're worried about. And if you can get a nice bat like Luciano in there, that would help tremendously. Absolutely.
I did a video on that the other day about Marco Luciano. Would have done it a week ago, but I got sick and couldn't stop coughing. Still coughing here, but the whole idea of Marco Luciano, look, if you could play shortstop, you have to pick balls constantly, backhand balls in the hole. You have to charge balls. You have to throw off balance. You have to do pickoff plays at second base and catch the ball while you're moving. You're taking double play balls. You're taking balls on stolen bases, digging balls out of the dirt, jumping for balls that are over your head. Look, if you can play shortstop, what I'm trying to tell you, you can play first base. I don't care if Marco wasn't the greatest shortstop. He could have learned first base, but the Giants, in their just infinite wisdom, right? They did not even give him a first baseman's glove in the winter and say, hey, go take some balls, ground balls, and, just get used to playing first base, and we'll bring you over and we'll have Will Clark work with you, or Brandon Belt, or JT Snow. And yet they're going to give him a left fielder. They're going to give him an outfielder's glove. And what's he going to break in over Ramos? I just don't understand their thinking. You don't have a first baseman. I asked this question the other night of Zach Manason, who was on Marty Lurie and Friends Live. I asked them, did you guys ever consider putting Luciano at first base? And they said no. They wanted him to get off the infield. They thought the outfield would be an easier just to learn. And I'm like,
not open-minded at all.
No. I mean, you don't have a first baseman of clout. You don't have, it's not a position of strength. So why not fill that with a 23-year-old who then all of a sudden gets 500 to 600 at bats, and all of a sudden he develops. And now we go, oh, well, we got 2 first basemen. We got Luciano and Eldridge coming. Well, hey, that's a great problem to have.
It's an open audition at first base. There is no superstar there. So yeah, I would like to see him take some grounders there. Hey, if the A's made a first baseman out of, who was the guy from Moneyball? The guy who basically threw out his shoulder. He couldn't throw the ball past the pitcher, and they made him a first baseman, and he did all right. Then the Giants can do that with Luciano.
Look at Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's turned himself into a decent first baseman.
Yeah, bingo. I mean, it can happen.
It happens. Yeah, it happens. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, check out Better at the top right-hand corner, the official daily fantasy sponsor of NorCal Sports Network. Make sure you download the app on your phone and put in the promo code NCSN for a deposit match of up to $250 plus a free pick. That's right, $250 for putting in the promo code NCSN. It's a great thing to do. It's fun to play. Los has played. I played. Los has won. I haven't. That's just how it's gone recently. But I did win a big one the other night, Los. Dallas and the Warriors. I picked Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving and Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry all to score within the first 3 minutes of the game.
Nice.
And I got plus 1250, my odds.
If I could give a little tip for Better real quick, is most people bet the overs on these bets. It's very rare. It's very rare that people bet unders, because people like to watch the game, and as each basket happens, okay, he's getting closer to 24 and a half. He's got 16 at halftime, so that projects to 32. I should win this. No. Think about how the game is going to go. If you see a game that you think is going to be a blowout, one team over the other, there's a very good chance that the superstar is not going to play in the fourth quarter. If he's not playing, he's not putting up any points or assists or rebounds. So look at games that could be blowouts. And for these superstars that have these really high numbers, bet the under. Just a little tip.
You know, my bet the other night was I took Kyrie Irving over 13.5 points. They gave you a little bonus, and they brought. I was like, oh, that's a gift. Okay, so I got to find one more. Well, let me look around. Paul George over 20.5. You know, Paul George just scored 21 points.
Oh,
I'll take it. How many points do you think Paul George scored last Wednesday night? Yes, his worst game of his career, and I happen to pick it. That's how it goes when I do things. 2 points. Paul George, 2 points.
the nice thing about under bets is you're winning it for most of the game. You just hope to win it at the end of the game.
Yes. Well, it was a fun night in the Bay Area with the 3-point contest. Buddy Hield almost got it. He didn't win it. He finished second to Tyler Hero. Actually, Tyler Hero is the guy I kind of thought might be the dark horse to win it. And then the slam dunk contest, that Max McClung, I mean, he's not only white, he's short.
He's got some hops.
Man.
Yeah, he may be adopted. He's got some brother in him. He's got some
I'm
hops.
telling you, what the heck? How does that guy get that high?
Yeah,
Man. I tell you.
there's Rick Barry's kid had some hops.
Oh yes,
Brent Barry.
Brent,
Brent,
my brother.
Brent Barry was in a slam dunk competition.
He
and I
won
think
it.
He did
He
well.
won it.
He did win it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
my
so,
brother knows Brent really, really well. In fact,
Okay.
I might even be able to show you a. Let me see something here. If I have it. I did have it at one point, but oh, here it is. There you go. Look at that.
Nice.
That's all. That's my brother in the middle, the short one. To the far left is Let's see. There's John.
Berry,
Or Scooter. That's
Scooter.
and then Brent is the one with all the hair. And then there's Drew. I'm not sure which one's Drew. Yeah.
Oh, so he's got 4 sons. He's got 4 sons.
He's actually got 5. He's got what's
that would be a good little trivia. I mean, we're doing a baseball show, so maybe another night we can give you a sneak preview. But top 5 white guys with hops in the NBA.
Yeah. Canyon. Cool. That's right. Canyon. And then there's Scooters in there. But my brother coached 3 of them at De La Salle. They're very close. That's at my brother's gym when he was coaching at DVC.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. Rex Chapman had major hops too. He did.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Rex did have some hops.
Yeah. So it's funny because my brother used to be 6. I kid him now because I think he shrunk because he got the picture's a little outdated, but Brent is like 6'7" or 6'8".
Yeah, but he's 6'6". Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they're all he's pretty tight with all 4 of them. So.
White chocolate up in Sacramento didn't have great hops, but man,
he could pass.
I loved watching him pass. And play
my goodness.
Oh, watch his highlight reel if you don't know who he is.
Unbelievable pass.
You got me thinking about it now.
Yeah. Oh, that was just something tonight. I have never seen. Did you see him jump over the car?
Mm-hmm.
Max, I mean, dude, he could have hurt himself if he didn't clear the car. I mean, if you get your foot stuck on the back end of that car jumping over.
He had to do something different. Those dunk contests have gotten a little bit stale over the last few years. I think that's why he said I think he said he might be done. I think he's probably like, I don't know how much I can do. What are you going to create? I mean, how do you get, I don't know. That was wild. How did you see the one where the guy was spinning and then he it's just like, oh my goodness. Yep.
So,
yep. A lot of craziness out there.
Yeah. All right, guys.
But, all right, guys. Good show. Good show.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you give this a like and subscribe. And we will see you. What's tomorrow? Sunday? Tomorrow night we got the Hot Corner. Okay. Show with Giant Sports Talk Live. Hot Corner. Yep. So Lou Martian will be back tomorrow, I think, because he was dealing with the All-Star Weekend tonight. So anyway, I think we got you covered. So again, thanks for being part of NorCal Sports Network. And let me get that. I got to hit the music here if I can find it. Where is it? There we go. All right. Take care, everybody. Appreciate you.